off to hyperlocal news. Okay, so a lot of times we're very serious. We're very technical here about real estate, and we obviously mean that as a value to you and the viewers. But we do change it up a little bit, and this is just as important, I believe, what's going on in Northeast LA, not only with real estate, but the neighborhoods that we live in and enjoy. So I am referencing the eastsiderla.com. Jesus does a great job there. He's been doing this for God, man. What do you think? 10, 15 years now? Might be 15 years?
I'd say close to 15. Yeah.
Yeah. Support what they do. Obviously, media has changed to a big wide world of media, and really it's about where we live and work and play and enjoy our lives. And Jesus over at the Eastsider LA definitely reflects that, and they work very hard. So let's go ahead and move into it. Let's see here, guys. We're going to go to Southwest Museum remains in limbo. Did you ever go to the Southwest Museum when it was open? I guiltily.
It was a long time ago. Yes.
Okay. So, this story talks about how right now it's shuttered and it's empty. Another great museum, the Autry Museum, took over its assets. But what it's saying here is the fate of one of the city's oldest museums has remained uncertain since its owner, the Autry Museum of the American West in Griffith Park, announced 4 years ago that it was seeking organizations to propose innovative and financially sustainable concepts for the 12-acre hillside property. A few months later, the Autry said 36 potential suitors had indicated an interest in the landmark. Let's see here. Last week, after being contacted by the Eastsider for an update, museum officials released a statement saying a group of civic leaders throughout LA County were looking at the property. The group was said to be deeply interested and capable of stewarding the Southwest property and preserving it as a cultural resource to be enjoyed by all. Autry also said it has recently been consulting with Brenda Levin, architect and historic preservation advocate, who developed a detailed rehab study in 2004. And so that's where it lies. I was reading some comments, Darren, and somebody made an astute observation that the metro station there is named after the Southwest Museum.
Yes.
And they'll have to change that. So that would be sad. So that's one story, Southwest Museum in Mount Washington area. We'll now run off to another museum. And this was really interesting to me, Darren. This is a private museum. You have to make an appointment to see it. It's located in Silver Lake. It showcases the mid-century modernism of Paul McCobb, a very well-known mid-century designer. So it goes on. About 15 years ago, we found a good deal on a used dining room set from Craigslist ad. These are Paul McCobb Planner Group, exclaimed my husband as he looked underneath the pieces when they arrived at our house. I nodded, not really understanding. I was too busy admiring the sleek, almost space-age design of the wooden chairs and table. I had forgotten the name until I heard about a new Paul McCobb Museum in Silver Lake. What? Wow. Jim and I immediately booked a tour. We quickly learned it's no ordinary museum. It's a private residence that showcases items from the 50s, furniture visionary, and his prolific planner group, which helped set the tone for the mid-century modernism movement. Owner Yogi Proctor greeted us at the door of his house on Hilltop. He shares with his wife, Carol Martori. So it goes on basically to say they've got a wonderful collection there, and they're very dedicated. I think their collection comprises over 18 years of collecting, and you can just give them a call and set up an appointment. Thought that was really neat.
Cool.
Yeah, what's another one? Let's see here. Oh, a little real estate news. Let's check it out. So if you are a fan of the Arctic Monkeys, a great British group, their drummer had a home. It's now on the market in Silver Lake, not too far from Silver Lake, the reservoir. And let's see, he is selling it. Let's see here. Founding member of the band Arctic Monkeys has listed his home for $3 million after having bought it in 2019 for just under $1.6 million. Matt Helders, drummer, singer, and songwriter, had the 4-bedroom mid-century modern on Castle Street done over by interior designer Corin Mathern. So, well, I had the picture somewhere, but it's a beautiful property. Another one was, let's see here, Mickey Madden, the bassist who is on apparently permanent leave for Maroon 5, is offering his home for rent. 3-bedroom home on Dundee Drive is a city historic cultural monument, the Jacobson House, which embodies the distinguishing characteristics of an architectural type specimen, an example of mid-century modern architecture. He bought it for $3.28 million in 2015. Now it's listed at $22,500 a month. So hurry up and get there. All right. So good luck to both of those guys. Darren, I did not mention this to you, but one of our clients in Palm Springs is renting her place for $20,000 a month. I was so surprised. Yeah. Very interesting. So, we sold a property not far from this place, and I titled this Circle H Market Carniceria and its parking lot. So there's usually a great pizza truck parked there, but this is near Benton and Sunset. It's right there, not too far up. Let's see. And let's see here. Bear with me. Here it is. Here it is. You remember that place? It's been there forever. So
that place used to be called King's Food when I was a
King's
kid.
Food. Would you run down there to get stuff for your mom?
I would. I would run down there to buy candy and all kinds of other stuff too.
That's awesome. So the Circle H Market Carniceria and its parking lot in the 2500 block of Sunset Boulevard would be demolished and replaced with a large mixed-use development under plans filed with the city. The current space also includes a liquor store and a small recycling facility. The applicant is New York-based Six Peak Capital, which has recently been in escrow to purchase the 27,055 square foot property, according to a planning document. Plans call for 5-story, 121 apartment building with 2 ground floor commercial spaces, including 3,500 square feet. As a transit-oriented community project, it would set aside 13 units for extremely low-income households. The developers want incentives, including a 70% increase in density, a parking ratio of only 1 space for every 2 residential units, and a 22-foot increase in allowable height. God, that sounds really huge. That sounds huge, right? As soon as I started hearing 5-story, oh my God. That's really big. Do you think they'll get it? What do you think?
Do I think they'll get it? Well, those adjustments come from the city planning department, but that's also whether the council members support it. I think they're in the best climate possible to get it, as much of the council office is, again, there's plenty of NIMBYism there even. More housing, well, maybe not in my backyard still. I think they'll get it. I do.
Right. I mean, Sunset Boulevard, that's a pretty strong case if you're talking about increasing and getting variances.
Absolutely.
All right. And then, this is near your heart, Darren. Which is the steepest street of them all? So do you want to guess? There are 3 here that they list.
Oh, I did read it.
Go ahead.
So I know.
Yeah.
It's not Echo Park.
No. Well, okay. There was a surprise, but,
yes.
The first one here is, I think, Fargo Street.
Yep.
Right? At Alvarado in Echo Park. 32% grade. All right. And then site of the Fargo Hill Street climb. Do you know about that? I didn't know about the Fargo Street. Hill Street climb. Huh. All right. We'll have to check that out. And then the other one was, of course, Baxter.
Yeah.
Right? And that's in Echo Park. Let's see. Baxter, did you know, Darren, was a testing ground for early automobiles. In 1916, a 4-wheel drive truck carrying 4,300 pounds of hay chugged upward, stopping only to mug for newspaper cameras. All right. Another 32% grade. But it's not the steepest, those 2. We go now to Eldridge Street in Highland Park. It's a 33.3% grade. So it was a hard race. It's on the border of Highland Park and Mount Washington. So, there you go. If you want to stump your friends and neighbors, there you go. Next one is, this was interesting. So, Darren, I know you're up in Eagle Rock pretty regularly. I didn't know this area was called Pillar Hinge until this story, but this comes from LA Times. Do you know about Pillar Hinge? That's right
It's
there.
not the area, it's that site.
Yeah.
That site has been that way for so long.
Right.
Since I think it goes all the way back to like the '06, '07 market
Oh
crash.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it's LA Times is saying it may finally disappear. In its place, a giant boat. So there's the mystery. An area that Eagle Rock residents called Pillar Hinge is being developed into a multifamily mixed-use complex. And without getting too far into it, I'll just show you what they're planning here. Let's see. Right here. I actually saw them working on it. It's going to look like that. The one on Colorado, right? A rendering of the proposed project, which locals have dubbed the Love Boat. So
I wonder if they're going to be able to use the pillars. They're not
right?
that old.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens there. The Eagle Rock Association, a volunteer group founded in the 1980s, aiming to guide the community's growth in a sustainable way, published a letter in 2017 pointing out the significance of the site's location. The property parallels a freeway off-ramp leading into Eagle Rock, so the Love Boat would be the first thing people see when entering the neighborhood. All right. Well, awesome. I think I have one more, and then we're done. Oh, well, two more. Almost done. Okay. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah here. Some restaurants. Okay. Highland Park, vegan barbecue alternative. Maceiel's plant-based butcher and deli. It's offering pulled pork or barbecue fried oyster mushrooms. All right. Some other openings. Ginger Grass, Silver Lake East Hollywood area is opening a to-go market of Vietnamese spring rolls, snacks, and sandwiches in East Hollywood. Eagle Rock has something called the Honest Bottle Shop. Plans to open on Eagle Rock Boulevard this fall, reports What Now Los Angeles. The founder, Chiaki Tang, is Eagle Rock resident with 20 years of luxury hotel experience. The bottle shop will focus on organically farmed grapes from European regions and plans to have a monthly subscription service. And then nearer to you, Darren, we've got from David Schlosser, a chef. He's applied for a liquor license on Sunset Boulevard for a new concept called Kushiba, alongside New York restaurateur Simon C. So, and then L&E Oyster Bar has something coming up in historic Filipino town. So stay tuned. Oh, and a closing. So this is hard for me because I went there. Maybe I didn't go there enough, and that's why I feel guilty. Junkyard Dog. So this was over by the McDonald's on Sunset. They just mysteriously just went out of business. There was just a sign sitting on the doorway. So there's a GoFundMe account for the staff because I guess they were only given less than a week of notice. So too bad. It was plant-based junk food. I loved it. All right. Next, guess nobody loved it enough. And then this one, I didn't know this, but did you know when you're entering the 2 and getting onto the Glendale Boulevard kind of merger there, that has been a high incidence of crashes? Did you look at that?
Entering
I
the
don't
2.
You're on the 2
Right at the on-ramp?
Yeah, where that those townhomes are sitting.
Sure. Yeah.
So I guess Lance Sanders' property has been struck by cars 4 times since he bought his place in 2015. Neighbors have been hit at least 3 times over the years. His insurance has paid out $50,000 in damages. So it's where the Glendale Freeway flows into a congested Glendale Boulevard on the border. I guess they've been trying to get a signal light there to try to control it, but it hasn't worked out. Look at that. That's hard.
The off-ramp, is what they're specifically talking about. That, man, the 2 freeway was supposed to connect to the 101. That was the original plan. All the way down Glendale, all the way to the 101 was supposed to be a freeway. Community fought it for years in the 70s. And then ultimately they stopped it where they stopped it. And they spent almost 20 years trying to figure out how to make that flow better. And I was involved in the latter of those discussions. There were people who were committed to it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And between Caltrans and local communities and the city, in all sincerity, they came up with the absolute worst option possible that did nothing but make the site worse. It was just horrific. I mean, it's just an absolute complete failure of government, its ability to make something work. And this is one of the many problems, I'm sure. That's sad to see, but that is just a difficult location to navigate, both on or off the freeway.
Yeah. I guess in a way they tried to take the middle road. It didn't work out, huh? They kind of Frankensteined it together.
They totally Frankensteined it. Yes.
Yeah.
Bad options.
So, Sanders has also filed claims with Caltrans over property damage and mental distress. The latest response from the State Department of General Services was that he'd have to sue. It's been extremely frustrating and stressful, Sanders said. I bought a home to relax, and I feel like I'm doing all of the state's work. Why am I paying taxes if the state cannot do the bare minimum of retaining cars onto their freeways? And there you go.
I agree. He can complain about that, but he also... Those were more recently built, and that's the same issue that location has had forever.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much housing they're building on that corridor, which is technically a street, but certainly feels like a freeway about 80% of the time.
Crazy. All right. Well, that is it for our look at local news. Again, go to the eastsiderla.com, check it out. It's a great resource for everyone, and support it.